Hello and welcome to today's video. So this is a new pickups video. It's been an awful long time since I've done one, so sit back, relax, and let's get to it. Hello and welcome to today's video. So I hope you're all doing well. It seems like it's been well over a month, maybe even 2 months since I've done like a latest pickups video, and also to talk about just general paperback news. And well, there's been a bit of sad news to begin with, in all honesty. A couple of people have died within the book selling community, and I wanted to just bring that to your attention. So about a month ago from when I'm filming this now, fellow book YouTuber Sean Standfast, who you may well have seen, he was very prolific on YouTube and did fantastic videos on different subjects and read-alongs and you know, his Desert Island discs, as it were, for book lovers. Great series. And Sean was a very, very friendly chap. I was on his channel a couple of times on live streams, sold him some books. I had some books off him, and he was a really generous guy, and he has sadly passed away. So to bring that to your attention, obviously his legacy and his channel is still out there. So if you've never checked out Sean's channel, do go and have a look, because there's some great stuff there. A couple of booksellers have also gone, people who I did know personally. The first one was at Puddletown. So Tristan, who was the owner of the Puddletown book and map shop, along with his wife, sadly passed away. He was actually quite young, and that's a real shame, because he was the nicest guy. I only met him or spoke to him last, I don't know, about a month or so ago, when I went by on the way to Dorset Bob's, and it was Bob who told me he was down there and didn't have a clue that what had happened, and one of the staff there gave him the bad news. So as far as I know, the Puddletown bookshop is going to continue trading for at least the foreseeable future, so you can still go along there. But just to bring that to your attention. And then a little bit closer to home, Andrew, who ran the book cupboard in Plymouth, has sadly had a heart attack just a couple of weeks back. And there very much remains a question mark over what will happen with that particular business on Plymouth Barbican. I am in contact with his sister. I'm going to give them a little bit of advice about what to do with the stock that was there in the shop. Plus he had stock in 3 different lockups around Plymouth, and it all needs to be sort of processed, I suppose. So watch this space on that one, and I'll keep you updated with that. But once again, Andrew did have a member of staff. It's only part-time. I think she's called Jackie, and she's going to be keeping the shop running for the foreseeable future. But I've got no idea with regards to their opening hours. I mean, they used to be 7 days a week. I doubt that'll be the case at the moment, but as I said, I just don't know. But yeah, sorry to start off with some bad news, but that's how it goes. Now on to some good news. So the next Zardoz book fair is on Sunday, March the 8th, and alas, I'm not going to be there. I've got the Shepton Mallet Toy Fair on the same date, and that one is a little bit more important to me this particular time round. They only do 2 or 3 Sheptons each year, and I don't particularly want to miss that one. Plus, with regards book selling stock, well, I've been sent absolutely stack loads through the post. So if there is anything that you particularly want, I have got quite a lot of my stock sorted now, and even things which aren't particularly, say, cleaned or processed or put into my main stock, I can put my hand on it. So if there is a particular thing from a particular series, I can probably get to it now, because I'm quite well organized. So you know, in the first instance, do just drop me an email, and I'll let you know. In regards book selling, I have also got new stock in now, by the time you watch this, of the vintage paperback bags, and I do these at like $12.99 100, and postage is about $2.20 or $2.30. You can get 200 in a bag for the same amount of postage. So be aware that if you are struggling to find them online, I have now got stock of the BCW paperback bags. Okay, so that's it. So that's where we're at. Now, what about the channel? Well, the channel's doing absolutely fantastic. It's growing very, very quickly at the moment, which is great news. There's people coming in from all around the world, which is superb. And it is resulting in the backlist having a bit of an uplift. People are watching my backlist, and also my more recent videos seem to be doing consistently well. There's a few that don't do so well, but on the whole, they're doing very, very well. So fantastic, and thank you to all the new subscribers. Also, my Patreon and channel members. So I get a steady trickle of people who join the channel. Some join, maybe watch the members only videos, and they log off for a few months and then come back. That's absolutely fine. But the YouTube channel memberships and Patreon is really what keeps the channel going. Even with all the increased subscribers, it's not really netting me loads more money. It's a little bit more, but it's not loads more. And I think that's because there's such a big, YouTube is such a big platform. There's a lot of competition. Not that I'm trying to outdo anybody. I think what I sort of cover on my channel is sort of unique in the world of collectible paperbacks. Although there are lots of other channels where people show you their finds, and you know, they specialize in various sorts of things, and that's absolutely fine. It's one big happy community, which is why when I hear someone like Sean passing, it's such sad news, because he was an absolute pillar of the community. I think we'll all agree with that. But my own channel's doing fantastic, so thank you for all the support. I've got some great stuff coming up. I've got some more fantastic videos planned, and you know, thanks for sticking with me. I think I've done some really good stuff just lately when I've been away on different trips and that, and the results have been fantastic. I am, as you've probably noticed, moving more and more into selling vintage paperbacks now, gearing up for my retirement from like regular paid work, and at the moment I've penciled in to do that at the tail end of next year. I'm going to give up my normal paid job. I'm going to be doing YouTube and book selling pretty much full time, and then I will absolutely be going for the second-hand market, hell for leather. And I mean, it's great at the moment, and I'm just about at capacity. I can keep on top of things at the moment with the amount of videos that I put out and the amount of book selling that I do, but I can't really do a lot more until I give up my regular work. So look out for that next year. I'll keep you posted on that. Anyway, that's it for all the news that I can think of at the moment. I have got, as I said, it seems like it's been about 2 months. I've got 4 stacks of new editions, which is incredible. Some of it are books that I've already got that I've upgraded, so I will have some spares, but there's a lot of brand new stuff which I'm looking at here, and it's a real mixture across all different publishers: British, American, science fiction. I've got Penguin stuff, Pan stuff. I've got Forces Book Club, old catalogues, memorabilia. It's a real mishmash of stuff, but I think you're going to enjoy going through it, and obviously I'll give it a clean as we go along. So without any more further ado, let's get stuck in. Okay then, so something super cool to start with, a very early Dell mapback. Look, this is mapback number 6, All Met by Moonlight, and this is the earliest mapback I've actually got. Ruth Bellow was the artist on a lot of the mapbacks, in fact almost all of them, I think. Now, I picked up some vintage paperbacks, vintage American and a few British, from Mike at PS Publishing. Now, you may have heard of PS Publishing. They are, that's absolutely fine. They are a fantastic publisher, and they print very high quality books, lots of limited editions. They've been around a long time, and Mike's been selling some of his personal collection. So there is a little section on the PS website with like books for sale, and there's some great stuff there. And most of these paperbacks cost me about £5 each, which was fantastic. So I got some really nice ones. I got quite a lot of Agatha Christie, American Agatha Christie's, which, you know, you don't really see over here. You don't really see many mapbacks in the UK anymore. And when you do, they're usually quite hammered. So I'm guessing that Mike himself maybe picked these up from the States direct. Who knows? But I'll go through these. I'll give everything a brush, and then some of the books I'm going to give a little polish as well. Not all of it, of course, but some of it. There's like a few little marks there which may come up with a bit of polish. So I've got a few to hand. I will mix it up a bit. I'm not going to do all the same thing. It's another nice one here, number 60. Mapback number 60, 13 at dinner. I mean, I wouldn't say I've got loads of mapbacks. Even with this latest haul, I've probably got, I don't know, I still don't think I've got 100 in my collection. I might be almost at 100. I don't know. I honestly can't remember. I don't think I've got that many. I maybe got maybe 70, something like that. But I have been quite strict with my condition on my mapbacks. When I've picked them up, I've tried to get really nice ones. Same collection. Here's a nice early Avon here. Now there is a little bit of writing on the front there, which I'm hoping is in pencil. I picked up a few Avon books. This is once again quite an early one. Coffin for One. 1936. Wow. Now, I don't know if that will come off or not. Look at that. Actually, it does. Yeah. That is lovely. I am quite tempted to pull all my mapbacks down because I haven't done a collection tour of those for a long time. I'll do a little collection tour and then I think I'm going to bag them up and protect them because I need to start boxing up a few more books from my collection as I get ready to move house. There we are. That's come up lovely there, hasn't it? Look at that coffin for not the greatest cover, but it is a really nice early Avon, and for that I am very grateful. Now, here's another map back, but this one has got the laminate still. Those earlier ones we saw there had the laminate removed, and that's not an uncommon thing to find with map backs because when they start peeling, they are a bit of a nightmare. And I've got some which are half peeling and half on, and they do vary in condition, and they are, in most cases, they're better off without the peeling laminate. But if the laminate is in one piece, obviously you want to keep it together there, you know. Let's get another quite early one. I just wish these mapbacks were easier to get in the UK. This is one I was really pleased to get because it's a real key book, this, you know, the Continental Op. Very nice indeed. Dashiell Hammett's very collectible, as I'm sure you're aware. Yeah, that's fine. I think there was a tiny, just a hint of an old price there on one page, which I'd like to, just there, I'd like to get that out. There we are. So I think I've got two Dashiell Hammett's in Dell Mapback now. The other one I got is Hammett Homicides, which is another cool cover. This is another early Mapback, number 13. Look at that. Death Wears a White Gardenia. Obviously, as soon as I found out, I got tipped off that Mike was selling some of his collection. And as soon as I found that out, I let my subscribers, my Patreon and channel members know. And if you want that sort of inside information when something comes up, well, you know what to do. You can support the channel and get the insider info. Number 9 there, look at that. Rex Stout, Double for Death. This is one thing that's had the laminate removed. But on an early one, you don't really mind, do you? There we are, a little X there. Who knows why that X is there? Maybe to signify that it's been read, for example, by an original owner. Very cool. The only thing, oh look at that, the only thing with Dell Mapbacks, not all of them, but some of the Dell Mapbacks are abridged. And I really don't like to read abridged books. I wouldn't listen to an abridged audiobook if I could help it. And I certainly don't like reading abridged paperbacks. I prefer to read the full-on book. So that was the only drawback with mapbacks. And not all of them, but I said quite a few of them were abridged. And, well, we just won't stand for it, will we? There we are. That is fine. Right, let's have a little change of pace. I've got more mapbacks to do in a minute. I went up to the north of England and visited a few people. I went to Ironbridge, you've probably seen that video. I also visited Andrew Mallum. Andrew's got that amazing penguin collection, and we did a little collection tour. I had a couple of rare books that Andrew didn't have, amazingly, and we did a swap. And this was one of the ones that I had off him. In fact, the next few are ones that I had off him. This is an Israeli penguin, the only Israeli penguin ever printed. And that writing there is by a book dealer called Brian Kesterton. I recognise his hand. So evidently Andrew, inadvertently maybe, or maybe directly, got this one through the lovely Brian Kesterton, one of the nicest people you ever could have met. I used to really look forward to his catalogues, and then you'd have to phone up, and it was first come first serve over the phone. That's how you placed your orders. And we would always have a little chat, and I'd say he was a fascinating guy and had an incredible collection. There we are. So this is reprinted in Israel, the only Israeli penguin. There we are. You saw it here first. 1959. There we are. Very interesting. Very interesting indeed. Now this is a Horwitz penguin. So these are, there's quite a run of these in actual fact, and they don't really turn up very often. If we have a look at the printing history here, published in association with Michael Joseph by Penguin Books in it's in Sydney, Melbourne. Published in Penguin, 1961. So it's a Horwitz penguin, which is basically an Australian one. And you know, I'm not mega keen on the Australian New Zealand editions, but these particular ones I really like. The more of them I'm getting, and I've got maybe 3 or 4 now, the more I really like them. The only thing is, there is one particular, well, there's a couple. There's a John Wyndham that I'd really like for Dare the Triffids. There's also one Agatha Christie, and it's her most infamous novel. And then there were none, but in its original title. And that came out as a Horwitz penguin, and I would imagine, although I've not gone looking for it, that's probably quite the pricey item, that. But, you know, there you go. Right. I did pick up a few American ones of Andrew as well. Just ones that I was missing, because once again, I feel they are proving elusive in this country, although I have picked up a couple direct from a friend of mine who bought them on my behalf, and we've had them shipped over. And I'll show you those when we get to them. A couple of real gems. The Unvanquished. But yeah, I'd certainly like to continue picking up the American ones, because I do really like them. There is a video coming up on the channel which may already have gone out by the time you watch this, and that's a friend called David, who also lives at Ironbridge, and he's got a very, very comprehensive American collection. I don't think he's got them all, but he's got like 99% of all the American penguins, which is good. Although my friend Andrew had an awful lot of them as well, although I didn't see who had quite the most, but I was able to film David's US collection, and they were very, very nice indeed. $1946. There we are. That's cool. Another American one, a Penguins. It says a Penguin special, but it's still part of the main numbered series. Handbook of Politics and a Voter's Guide. It's got a Jonas cover, who did a load for Penguin, and that's in pretty nice tight shape, that one. April 1946. That's pretty nice, that. The Turning Wheels, 573. I said I was able to get all of these in a trade with Andrew, so I didn't actually have to buy them off him. I did a little trade. He was over the moon with what I brought for him, and I was able to get some new additions for my Penguin collection. So it's all good. Anyway, very, very brittle, that one, but it'll do. It'll do. I'm not complaining. A couple more here, so a couple of earlier ones. The Navy Colt. Now this is a superior reprint. So these look like the early Penguins, and they're sort of very distant cousins. It's got a bit of tape on the front, but I better leave that. So these are sort of a bookend to the American Penguins. Can't remember where I got that. I don't think it was from Andrew. Can't remember. Here's an Infantry Journal Penguin Books special. Americans versus Germans. Special 209. I got a few of these already, but this is one I didn't have, so I thought I'd pick it up. Since it's in a trade, it's a third print. But some of these, I've got to say, they're almost impossible to find in the firsts. Even in the States, they're just really, really hard. So I don't mind picking up some of these, as long as it's the original jackets. Not many of them have more than one jacket. Although there is one, which is the a science fiction anthology. And I've got the first of it, which we're going to see in a minute. But there is a second, a reprint, which has got a different jacket. And I wouldn't mind that because of my collection of Penguin science fiction, which is pretty comprehensive. And there's only this couple of odd American ones, so I'd like to get them really, you know. A couple more. Got Appointment in Samara. This is a traditional early-ish Penguin, 563, American one again. '45, I guess that's 1945, with a Jonas cover painting. $10 inside. Who knows where Andrew got this one from? Certainly when I started collecting Penguins, I did buy some from eBay USA, but it's just so expensive to do that nowadays, you know. This is a bit of a beaten up one, but it is pretty rare. This is a Portuguese pelican, and you don't see many of these around. I forget exactly how many there are, and I almost left this one behind, to be honest. I did pick up a couple others because it's in pretty poor shape, but it's also rare at the same time. So horses for courses. All right, let's start another little pile here. So a much more modern edition of Agatha Christie's Third Girl. I picked this one up at the Ironbridge bookshop. Third Girl is the Agatha Christie title that I am a focus collector on. So what that means is I try and collect every single edition worldwide of this particular 60s Christie title. And this is a much more, I remember selling this one, much more modern one, which I didn't have. So there's still loads that I'm after. I did pick up a small batch in Ironbridge of vintage Pan books that were in particularly above average condition. And I think I actually do have quite a nice copy of this one. But it doesn't matter because it's one I actually want to read. It's like a classic crime one. And I do want to give this one a read. I've been enjoying a bit of classic crime and classic SF recently, actually. A bit of both. And these were, well, you can see it's $3.50. And I did get a little bit of discount from Megan, who runs the newly expanded Ironbridge bookshop. So do go along if you've not already seen that video. It's proved very popular. The shop is a delight. I mean, it's an absolute delight to go round. So it's recommended. Murder at the Gallop. Once again, this is another odd Fontana that I didn't have. This ties into the Margaret Rutherford movie. This Margaret Rutherford movie isn't too bad. I think she did 4, and I think I've seen all 4, and I think 2 of them are good, 2 of them are pretty average, to be honest. This one was one of the better ones. She's not a bad Marple, but, you know, it is what it is. This is another one I got, and I picked this one up. It's reasonably common, even in its dust wrapper, this one. But, you know, I didn't want to leave it behind, and I did want to compare it against my own one. I'm not sure my own copy's this nice. And that's sort of the stage I'm at to with my pans. In a lot of cases, the numbered ones, I've got them all. So I just like to pick them up when they're really tip-top shape, in the hope that I might be able to get an upgrade or two. If not, mint pans are not difficult to sell, I've found. So I don't mind putting mint pans into stock, and that is a beauty. I've got to say, that is very, very nice. Oh, here's another superior reprint. Once again, these have got a bit muddled up now. I can't quite remember where I got all of these, but this one may have come from Morris at Zardos. I just can't remember, but that one's fine. This was definitely from Morris. This is a Collins sixpenny series, and I've got 4 of these. These came out in the 1920s, and they're pretty darn rare, I've got to say. As I said, I got 4. A couple of look at this, £3. I got a couple of westerns and a couple of crime titles. There are, I think, 4 Agatha Christie's in this series, and this one was a little bit the worse for wear. There's H.G. Wells. It was published in this series as well, War of the Worlds. Anyway, let's have a little look. I don't think they're dated, but these are very early Collins paperbacks. Before the white circles, they did these. Yeah, it says copyright, but it doesn't actually give you any sort of date on these. But they are scarce, very, very scarce, and that is quite a fragile little book, that. And the other ones I've got, I have actually bagged up. And some of these I'm going to, once I've given this the brush, I'm going to bag them up literally in this video, because they are at risk. Here's another nice, you could say, mint pan, or fine pan. When they're in this nice condition, as I said, I don't like to leave them behind, because they could easily be improvers on my own copies, and there's nothing inside that, so assume that's all groovy. Here's another one which I'm certain is an improver on my own one. Look at that, number 114. That is rather lovely, isn't it? That is gorgeous. Bit of foxing on the page edges, but else that's a superior copy. That very, very nice indeed. 1949. Look at that, 15p. You could say that was a veritable bargain. There we are. That's lovely, isn't it? That's really, really nice. That's so excellent. A couple more pans. I'm pretty sure I've got a nice copy of this one, number 362. But as I said, I'm going to compare it. Oh, what's this? That's a receipt from Foyles. Look at that. We should like you to come to Foyles for all your books. I've never seen one of those before. Yeah, like the original Foyles bookshop. I think I'll keep that with my bits of ephemera, which I have a few bits to show you today. I've never seen one of those before, so we'll keep that, and I'll pop it in my my album of book ephemera, bookmarks and what have you. But look at that, 1955. Once again, that's absolutely new. I mean, that is unread, that one. Beautiful. This one I knew I needed a better copy of, Green Hell, so this is definitely an improver on my own copy. Little 2 shillings on the front. Apparently this is a really good book. I've got a reprint of it as well, which has got a different cover. But I hear this is a great book. Jamie Blaker, 1st of April 1950. There we are, this edition, 1950. So Jamie, I reckon, bought this when it came out. Jamie doesn't really sound like a 1950s name though, does it? Maybe he was called James and he preferred to be Jamie, maybe, I don't know. Anyway, Jamie, your name is now after this beauty. But yeah, we have got a lot to get through today, so this is probably going to end up being quite the video. But that's okay, you know, I need to clear the decks and get some of this stuff into my collection. The last pan for a bit, which is another beautiful jacket here. Look at that, that's a lovely painted jacket. Hammond Inners, Madden's Rock, look at that spine. It's a beauty, that's the way to have them. That is the way to have them. I love a really nice condition pan. 1956, that one. $2.99. I think this was another one from the Iron Bridge bookshop. Lovely. Okay, that's cool. Right, got a few more American ones now. So this is a later mapback. Murder at Hazelmoor. Mapback 937 or Dell 937. They're not all mapbacks from this period. They do phase them out slowly but surely. They drop the mapback gimmick. But I think early on it definitely paid dividends. Yeah, new Dell edition, first printing February 57. This one's ever so slightly coming away there. The binding's coming away. So I think I'm going to get some glue in there, you know. I haven't used this glue for a little while, so let's see how quickly I can get it out. Oh, it's okay. That's all right. Yeah, just a little bit coming away from the spine. I definitely, out of all the mapbacks, there's quite a few Agatha Christie's, and I'd like to get them all, really. I mean, trying to get Agatha Christie and all the American paperback first is no tall order. I've got some, of course, but there's just so many, you know. I wouldn't really know where to start. Although I'm, you know, just picking them up here and there. I have ended up getting a few in my collection. Here's a slightly earlier one, 231, mapback 231. There's 6 there. So yeah, I'd like these sort of pickup videos to be also like latest paperback news, really. So if you have got something new within the world of paperbacks that you'd like to share, do let me know. A bit about the London Paperback Show. Well, there is no date for it, although the very next show, as I film this, is now back at the Holiday Inn, the Bloomsbury Holiday Inn. But the bit of the Holiday Inn which housed the Paperback Show, sadly, it's been transferred. It's a gym. It's not actually an area where dealers can set up and have a stall. So consequently, we don't know when the next paperback show is going to be. We just have no idea. Here's another American one. So, you know, as soon as I know if there's a date, I'll let you know, because, you know, a little while back I was thinking I'll just go along, I'll take a stall there, you know, but right now I just don't think it would be worth it. I'd rather go along as a punter rather than as a dealer, because as I said, I've been selling loads through the mail. I honestly, I just don't need to go to the shows like that to move my stock, because, you know, people just they message me when they want something, and you can do exactly that as well. Here's a pocket Agatha Christie, and these are really scarce. Once again, I've got a handful in my collection, and I was very, very pleased to see this one. Look at that. First printing, January 1945, for this pocket edition. So that's very nice indeed. Now here's an Ace Double, D21. This is like a thriller one. Look at that, high stakes. Once again, you don't really see many of these in the UK, and great. It's nice to have a few of these. I've got quite a few science fiction doubles, but not many in any of the other genres at all. So when I see them and they're reasonably priced, I'll grab them. And this was reasonably priced. I can't see any price. There's a little, looks like a little bookseller's inventory just across there. But once again, quite an early ace double. Quite early. There we are. That's very cool. And I do have another one, which is this one. This is ace double number 77. Stranger at Home. Look at that cover. Very nice indeed. It's getting a little bit tanned, but you know, not the end of the world. No marks inside that one. 1954, that one. Very cool. It's another American. This is an American Pelican, of which I've got a few. This is P6, so Pelican 6. So again, don't see too many of these in the UK. I did get, I think, 4 last year from that first big collection I bought in. There was a few American ones, not many, but a few. Right, now this has got, I need to get in here as well. So what I do on the inside covers is use another book as a rest. And of course, one thing I have been missing is something to read paperback wise, because the paperback fanatic is no more. The last issue, issue 50, was Justin's last one, and he's decided to knock it on the head. Here's a handful more of the Portuguese Pelicans. As I said, I did pick up a few off Andrew, because he had a few spares. And I have been to Portugal, very nice. I had no idea there were Portuguese Pelicans. And Pelicans is, you know, it's just one of those little spin-offs. If you are a penguin collector, you end up usually having a few Pelicans in your run. But these are not something I'm ever going to get them all of, but it's nice to have a few examples. And I've got that with almost all the overseas ones, you know, Egyptian ones, and I've got Palestine and Argentina, and I have got all the French ones, 2 series of French ones. I do have those complete. There's another one there. So Andrew's got an awful lot of these, but he hasn't quite got the set. He says there is a chap called Paul Lickis, who I think is the UK's #1 Pelican collector. I think he's got them all. So he is the one. I don't know Paul. I'd like to, you know, like to meet him, like to chat to him about his Pelican collection. That'd be fantastic. So Paul, if you're watching, hello, and drop me an email and let's see if we can meet up. Another really interesting one. This is number 27. This is quite early. It's really nice. Yeah, that's nice, that one. I say it's just nice to have a few examples sometimes of the foreign Pelicans. Right, I'm going to take a short break there. Okay, I also picked these up off Andrew. Now, Andrew's got a massive, and I mean, he must have 100 duplicate puffin posts. I think he's got the full set himself. And these are ones that I thought were in better than average condition, and ones that I didn't already have. I don't think he knocks them out too expensive. You know, they're not like mega money or anything. Look at that puffin diary there. But it was just really nice to have them, and I have been slowly but surely putting a little run of these together, and very nice they are too. But you do see them online, you know, reasonably frequently. What you don't see is the puffin diaries, which are mega rare. But yeah, these are all really good. So a few little additions to my puffin collection. Puffin post. Good, they're really nice. I did also get a couple of catalogues and bits and pieces. So I got these 2 here, I think were from Andrew. So Penguins in Print, February 1971 and September to December 1971. So a couple of publishers' catalogues, and ridiculously I do collect these. I do love them, absolutely love them. And then a friend of mine called Deb, she was going through some of her mum's stuff over in Australia, this is, and that she was able to she came across a couple of Penguin catalogues, and she said, did I want them? And both of them I never had. So first of all was summer autumn 63 bestseller stock order list. It's been used, but we don't mind. Look at that. Very nice. Yeah, I'm assuming these were Deb's mum's. And then a copy of Penguin Book News, which once again I've got a couple of, but I haven't got this one. March 1966. It's not mint by any means, but I don't mind because these are they're just great. They're real period pieces, and they are from the period that I collect. And I love all the different covers and stuff, and it's got a list of the new titles and things like that. This sort of stuff I absolutely love. I absolutely love it. You often see like box sets and things which you didn't know were released. And this is when the Peacocks were being published. It's great. Really nice. So once again, thanks very much for that, Deb. Those will not go unappreciated because I do love that sort of stuff. Another bit of Puffin memorabilia I got from Andrew with Puffin Post pencil. I believe this is possibly a 90s or early 2000s one. So once again, I popped that. I've got a Penguin pen, a biro, from when I was in the trade in the 90s. But I don't think I've got a pencil. So that's very cool. This is something, it's not paperback related, but I thought I'd show you it because it is pretty cool. It is a bound up book of Dell comics. Now, Dell published lots of TV and animated tie-ins. This was from, once again, it's from Mike at PS Publishing. So it's got that label on the side, which we've managed to get off. And it says that this is volume 14. And on the front here, I don't know if you can see it, but it says Bugs Bunny's Christmas Funnies, Bugs Bunny's Halloween Fun, Tom and Jerry Picnic. And what this is bound Dell comics. And it's Dell Giants. So these are the original comics. Look at that. It says a giant comic. So these were big, thick ones. And they've just been bound up in here. And it looks like the spines are still on them. Not that I'm ever going to take these apart. But this is, as a complete thing, this has got 4 bound Dell comics. It's a bit like your do-it-yourself graphic novel, in effect. So let's have a look at the covers there. Like Donald Duck's Beach Party. They're really nice. Don't often come across bound comics. I know you see them with pulp sometimes. They're great, aren't they? And these are 50s. Like that's Tom and Jerry's Picnic Time. That comic there dates from 1958. Brilliant. This one here is from 1955. Bugs Bunny's Trick and Treat Halloween Fun, 1955. Beautiful, isn't it? And then that one there, the Christmas Funnies. This one dates from 1958. So anyway, very, very nice there. That cost me from Mike £5.99, which I thought was a bargain. He did have a Marvel Comics one, 4 issues of Marvel's Collector's Item Classics bound up in the same way for £30, which probably, if you're a Marvel fan, well worth it. Well worth it. An odd pan. Can't remember exactly where this one came from, but it came to me in the last couple of months, and I thought, oh, I can't remember if I had it or not. But it's got a pound inside, but it was a particularly nice one. I don't think I've got this one, but it was a particularly nice condition one. So I thought I'd grab that, which is good. At the same time, I don't know, once again, I got this Philip Jose Farmer. I collect Jose Farmer in American paperback first, not British. So this one is going to go into my spare stock. This is just a spare Jose. I really like them to read. I think he's a great... I enjoyed him when I was growing up as a writer. Yeah, the First Sphere edition, 1972. There we are. But that's just going to go into my my spare stock. Not that it's going to be much money, you know, a couple of quid or something. But since it's here, I'll give it a clean while we go through. Right, The Labours of Hercules. This is another Dell mapback, number 491. It retained the same title as the British one. What I like about this, because the labours in question are in different places around the globe, they couldn't do just one map back, so they've done these like little, almost like postage stamps on the back over a map of Europe. I think it's really good. I absolutely love that. Superb, superb. Very nice painted jacket as well. This is a superior Dell book. Absolutely great. I wish it was just a tiny bit better condition, but I'm not going to complain, because I'd rather have it like this than not have it at all, I can tell you that. So yeah, that's very nice indeed. Oh, another Christie. So I wasn't deliberately going out to get Christie's, but I have ended up with a few this month. This one was once again quite curious, because it was one I didn't have, and it had, you can see under there, that's would have been where the 2 and 6 was. There's like a cents, and then it's got an over sticker of 85 cents on. So I think this has come from Australia or New Zealand. Very nice condition, and it was also at £2, and it was also the first Fontana edition from 1961. Ironically, the same book as the Dell we've just seen. But if you collect Christie, you'll be like all Christie collectors. You've got 5 or 6 copies of the same book. This is another one which I got from Mike at PS. It was £1. It was just £1. It's an Ace Star. So I thought, well, there's a vintage paperback. He paid £5 for it, but it was only £1 to me. That's what he sold it for. I thought, I'm going to pick that up. 1962. Really odd, but nice condition. Here is a Harlequin pan. So Harlequin were a Canadian offshoot of Pan Books, printed locally in Canada, and this is the only one I've got. I've never tried to track them down, but it was on the list very cheap. There we are, Harlequin Pan, April 56, printed in Canada. There we are, 19, yeah. So quite a rough copy of this one, so we'll have a little look at the spine. In all honesty, I don't think there's going to be a lot we can do with it. We might be able to re-glue some of the spine here, but basically the sooner this gets into a bag, the better, really. Yeah, there's a little bit of the spine we could perhaps glue back in. A little bit of the cover there, but I mean, you know, it's only going to just, if we touch that up, it's just going to make it a tiny bit better. It's less likely to get damaged, let's put it that way. So I am happy to pop a bit of, just a little slither here and there, just to tidy this up a little bit. See, some of this is actually what we call two-ply. So we need to get in there as well, you see. A little gap there. That should be enough just to fold that in. There we are. It's just to stop this bit catching and getting any worse. But it's never going to set the world on fire, but they are rare, and I'd much rather have this in low grade and have an example of a Harlequin pan than not have one at all, because I haven't got any others in my collection. But as I said, I've never actually gone out to find them. Tim at ticket.net, the Ultimate Pan website, he has pictures of the whole lot on his website. I think he owns them all, but even if he doesn't, they are all at least pictured, so you can go and have a look and see what got published. I am off to Canada this year. We are celebrating my wife's 50th birthday, and that's where we're going, and I'm really looking forward to it. And I shall be looking for these, as well as a few other penguin related items as well. But there we are. I think that's oh yeah, there was a little bit there, wasn't there? I think there's not a lot else we can do with this one. You know, it's just a bit too far gone, but at least that's going to stop it getting any worse at all. There we are. And I think the sooner that's in the bag, the better, because it does look rather fragile, doesn't it? But there we are. That is a very, very rare Christie, particularly rare in Britain anyway. You know, you don't see many of those over here. Right, here's some more overseas books. Here's a couple of Kojaks. So I do collect Kojak related memorabilia, if you can believe it. I've always had a bit of a soft spot. I think the episodes nowadays stand up very, very well. The series is still very watchable, and some of them are incredibly edgy. I tell you, there's some great ones. So this is French Kojak. I've got two French ones, and they did, in total, I think there's 12 different Kojak books. All of them got published in the States. In Britain, we had 5 of them. And in France, I think we had 3, of which I've got 2. Now, that is an absolutely disgusting sticker on the back. That is the pits. So what I think I'm going to do, I mean, actually, it's coming off quite easily with my thumbnail. But it's an awful sticker. Really bad. That must have been pretty awful. So let's get off what I can with my fingernail, and then I'm going to put a squirt of Mr. Sheen on and let it soak a bit. Yeah, pretty awful, in all honesty. But if we can get some of this glue off, yeah, I think that's about all we can get now. So I've got some Mr. Sheen here, which is my preferred furniture polish of choice. And you stick this on, like that, in a targeted manner, and we shall just leave that there and let it soak for a bit. Now here's the other French one. That's okay. It's got some very French looking pricing inside. I got these two from Morris at Zardos, and I was really surprised to see them, to be honest. So I don't tend to pick up loads of foreign language books. I've got a handful, but because there's so few Kojak books, I thought these might be a bit of fun. A couple of unusual additions to the Kojak collection, eh? And they've got unique covers as well, which is another reason to pick them up. And here's a much more familiar British one. I used to have all of these and I got rid of them. I don't know why. The British ones definitely turn up. And you shouldn't really pay more than a few pounds for each one. But they do also exist in hardback, in British hardback. So bear that in mind as well. That one's absolutely fine. And we got one more in the Kojak department, which is an American one. As I said, there's 12 in total. I actually regret, it was about 2 years ago, and there was a guy who had the full set of all the Kojak novels, and one of them was signed by Telly Savalas, and it was $100 for all of them. And at the time, it was a bit pricey. The postage would have been about 30 quid on top. And I thought that's just a little bit too pricey. But now, of course, I regret that, because that's probably a very good price, particularly since there is a signed one. I haven't got Telly Savalas' signature. I'd love it. It's not a difficult one to find. You do see signed stuff online by Telly Savalas, but he did sign his autograph quite a bit. It's just one I haven't got. Right, there we are. So let's see if we've managed to get the muck off the back here. Usually it'll do very well. Yeah, it's coming off very easily. Mr. Sheen, it just sort of eats into the glue, you see. And that's all we needed on that one. And that's pretty much got that sticker completely off. Look at that. Smooth as a baby's bum. I will leave that because it needs a normal polish anyway, but that's given that one a nice clean. Now this next one, you're not going to believe. It's the standard UFO paperback, but it's the scarcer of the two, UFO 2, and its condition is insane. I've never, ever, ever seen one so nice, and I've had several through my hands. I've never seen one in this shape. Look at that spine. I challenge you to find a better example of that book. That is just incredible. I've got nice copies of both of these now, but my original ones that I had from, the late 70s, early 80s, I got them both signed by Ed Bishop when I met him, and I got rid of them. I really regret doing that, and I had the annual signed by him as well. I don't know why I got shot of them, but anyway, I've got the books back, and look at that. How amazing is that? I do actually have, Robert Mile is a pseudonym of Jonathan Burt, and I've actually got Jonathan Burke's original, there's 2 contracts for these books, to do UFO in the sequel, and to have them reprinted in Japan as well. And I've got his 2 original contracts. Right, we'll just do a few more before I take a break. So this is a Zephyr book. Absolutely love Zephyr, but you hardly ever come across them. I liken them a bit to Albatross books. They come in a dust wrapper, as you can see. You usually find them in just the white, and the white is full of fingerprints because they've not been protected. They're in different coloured jackets as well, for different sort of genres. And I really like these, and I usually pick them up when I find them, which isn't that often. But there's some good authors in there as well. I've no idea how many there are. Several hundred. This is a reasonably early one, number 155. Book 1 was A Farewell to Arms. But there's some good stuff in here. Dashiell Hammett, The Maltese Falcon, Dorothy Sayre, there's Crime. I believe there's a P.G. Woodhouse, which I may even have. Graham Greene, Gun for Sale. Yes, some good stuff. Continued on the inside. Oh, look, there's the list. Yeah. Yes. So if you ever see Zephyr books, bear me in mind. You don't often come across them, but they are nice. Oh, a couple more here. So this is Passenger to Frankfurt with a Tom Adams cover, and this came from Ironbridge. Look, the Ironbridge bookshop. There we are. And this is one I didn't have. I checked. I always keep with me my phone, and on my phone I can access my Google Drive, and my Google Drive has got all my book wants listed, what I'm after, what I've got. And I checked in the shop, and I realised that this particular one, the 9th impression from August 79, was the edition that I was short of, and that's why I grabbed it. So I haven't got that particular one, which was great. And then look at this, another really nice condition Pan book, a Minter 225. I actually think this is one I've got in particularly nice condition, so I'm guessing this will be a spare, but I do want to compare it side by side with the one that I've already got. And this is from 1952. So that's very nice indeed. Let's get a couple more out while we're in the frenzy. So I got a few books sent over from my friend Kurt in the States, and Kurt and I have been sort of trading books, and I've been buying books for him and vice versa. And we did our great swap in the new year, and Kurt's, this is one, these next couple came from Kurt. So these are books that I found on eBay USA. Kurt bought them for me, and he sent them over, and this is that first science fiction anthology published by Penguin USA. As I said, there is a second edition with a slightly different jacket, in fact, completely different jacket. But this is a really nice high grade one, so I was really pleased with that. May 1944, nice tight, ever so slightly sun-spined copy of that one. And another one, so it's a really nice American Penguin special, which you never see over here. Look at this, Hitler's Second Army, Special 214. Look at the condition of it. What a beauty. Look at that. That's really nice. Got this like turnover bit of paper there. It's been nicked. There we are, we got it. 1943. Yeah, published in conjunction with the Infantry Journal. Very, very nice indeed. That's really scarce, that one. I also got a couple more in the Best American Short Stories series. These are tough to find, particularly in nice condition, and impossible because I don't believe they were sold in Britain. Not these editions at all. Some Ballantine stuff was imported, of course, into the UK, and you do find it. Most of the science fiction came over, but these didn't, because it was, well, they probably thought it was American short stories. No one in Britain's going to buy that. So all the ones of these that I've got, and they're really period for when they were printed as well. I've got them back to 1953, but these are two I didn't have. So this is the 1965. So I was really pleased to get these. A couple of turned over corners there. How very dare they? Yeah, Martha Foley, and she edited loads of them for like decades. She edited them. That came out in 1966, so that's the 1965 one. All these corners are playing hard to get. Come on, fold over. There we are. And then this one, which is, you know, The Summer of Love. Look at that, 1967. Very psychedelic. Very cool, indeed. Really, really like these. I love them. But tough. They didn't do every year. That's the weird thing about it. In the 50s and 60s, they did. Some years just get skipped. Maybe they just didn't think it was warranting a paperback. I don't know. Right, here's another one that Kurt got me, which was this copy of Third Girl. This is an American edition, and I think these are the Tom Adams covers, but he did completely different jackets for the American editions, and this was only $3, but see, it's got a sticker removal mark on the front, so it wasn't expensive. Just seeing if I can get that little bit of label off. Now, as you can see, it's left some residue. And this hasn't got the really shiny cover like Kojak had, sadly. So we're going to need to tread carefully there. But I think it does warrant putting a squirt on. And just leave that there for a bit. Let's do another one which I picked up in the States. So I was really pleased to get this, because this was the final American Danger Man paperback that I needed. Obviously in America it was called Secret Agent, and this was the last one I needed to finish the set, and it proved to be the toughest to find in nice condition, because the ones I've got are quite nice. And yeah, really, really pleased to get this one. Really pleased. That was superb. Nice copy as well. Very pleased to get that. I do love a good TV tie-in, I can tell you that. Kurt threw this one in the box because he knows of my interest in the big eye. I've now got 3 editions of this one. I've got the Popular Library one, I've got this one which is the Bantam edition, and I've also got the British Boardman edition, which, if you see my little video on Boardman books, you'll know where I'm coming from with that. The big eye in question is a planet which hurtles towards the Earth, and it resembles an eye, just in case you were curious. And this is another very, very cool edition of it. I think the only one I'm not going to have, because I've now got 3 versions of it, is going to be the hardback. But there we are, at Bantam edition, December 58. That's really cool, and I didn't expect that, so thanks very much for that, Kurt. I didn't realise I was going to be a big eye focus collector, but there you go. Right, there's 2 in this little packet here. The first one, I'm sure you've seen these many, many times before. This is the Star Trek photo novels. Now, the first one in the UK was rebound. The cover was rebound and it says Corgi, whereas all the rest of them were the straightforward Bantam editions. So this was the correct printing. This is the original Bantam edition, November 77, of the very first Star Trek photo novel, my absolute all-time favourite Star Trek story, written by Harlan Ellison, of course. City of Age of Forever, guest star Joan Collins. Absolutely amazing, and what a beautiful copy that is too. Very, very pleased to get that. And another Avengers book which I was after, so I'm only missing one American Avengers book now. A couple of little stains there at the top, but they're proving quite elusive, these. There is a second series as well with slightly different covers, so I need to double check the exact printings of mine. But this one is from 1968, April 68, with a Emma Peel there, tied to the railway tracks. Admittedly, the train is hardly going to, give her much of a scratch, but there you go. Right, let's see if that Mr. Sheen has done its job on this American Tom Adams copy of Third Girl. Well, I don't think it's not too bad. It may have softened it, but yeah, I think it has definitely softened it. And you can see it's coming off a little bit, but it just doesn't feel too good. It's it needs to get that air there. It's a bit more like it's that sort of soggy, textured sort of feel to it, where you can then start to rub it off. It sort of goes all granular, as it were. But it's very, very easy to damage a cover like this, It's going to be tricky to get that perfect, I think, Not impossible, I think, but care is required there, I think. Well, we got a little bit more of it off. I think I'm going to have a little think about that, because I don't want to ruin it. You can sort of see at a different angle, it looks slightly different. You can see you're taking off another little layer of paper, and it may be it's just going to be one of those ones that we revisit a few times till it's eventually all scraped off. But amazingly, we've done really well there in an hour's worth of book cleaning, and we are, I would say, over halfway through. So I don't think there's loads more to do. We've made pretty good progress there. I don't want these videos to be 3 hours long, let's be honest, but that's not bad. I think that's a good start on that, but obviously more work is required. Anyway, that's it for now. I'm going to take a break and I'm going to finish these tomorrow, but we've got loads more still to go. Okay, I've just put a blob of eucalyptus oil, which is this stuff, onto the Agatha Christie cover, this one here. I have tried this in the past and it's not actually been that successful, but the Mr. Sheen was not doing the trick really. So I know my friend Dorset Bob uses eucalyptus oil, and I've left it sat there for about 2 minutes or so. So I think that's hopefully enough to now dab this off and see if it's got the got it off. And I think it may have. That is good news. I can feel a little bit. There's still a little bit there, but you can see those little flecks. It's got some of it off. It hasn't got it all off, because when I rub my finger over it, I can feel still a little bit is left. Maybe I needed to leave it a bit longer. Yeah, in the light I can see that there's still some there. Yeah, you can see I can just scratch it up. It's just like a little invisible residue of glue. I'll see in the light. I'll see if I can just scratch it. There we are. You've got to catch it just right. But the eucalyptus has definitely softened it. which is usually what the Mr. Sheen does, but for some reason, maybe because it was like multi-layered, you know. I quite like the smell of eucalyptus, nice. But this is just the remnants now of an old bookshop stamp. It's a little bit of glue. The sticker's come off, the price sticker. It was just a little bit of glue. Yeah, I think we've just about got it all, you know. I think one more decent polish and we'll have all of this off, with hopefully minimal damage to the cover. Yeah, it's almost all gone. Let's look at it in the light again. Yeah, there is still a little bit there, just on this, near the spine here. There we are, I think we've done it. There we are, and you'd never know. Wow, that was a job and a half, right. Now, I've got a couple of brand new publications to show you. I usually do that when I'm about halfway through, so we'll do those next. So the first thing is this one. It's the latest Phantasmagoria special, which is special edition number 10. And this is a big, thick book, and it's a special edition on those classic Peter Cushing Dalek movies, which are amazingly 60 years old now. I got to admit, I absolutely love them. And this has got a beautiful wraparound cover and some great contributors. It actually got a small piece in this one myself there, which I was very pleased to see, in between Nick Briggs, who does the Dalek voices, and Ramsey Campbell. So definitely in great company there. And yeah, almost 270 pages on every single aspect of Daleks and the Dalek movies. And this is an absolute essential if you're a Doctor Who fan. It really is. I definitely recommend this one. Excellent stuff. A TV21 strip. Yeah, interviews with some Doctor Who writers as well. So many people were influenced by the by those 60s Dalek movies, and I remember I was lucky enough that my local ABC cinema used to show them as double bills on a Saturday morning. I would never miss it. Just love them. They could show them every week, and I would have gone every week. Here's my little bit on the Doctor Who related paperbacks and books, Dalek related, not Doctor Who, Dalek related, that came out for the classic series. But as I said, there's lots in here for you to enjoy. It's a huge tome and really, really good. It's so recommended. It deserves to be a bestseller. I believe you can buy this one from Phantasmagoria, the website. It is available through Amazon. You can buy it in Forbidden Planet Belfast. I'm not sure if the London Forbidden Planets have got it, but it has got fairly wide distribution. So yeah, do hunt this one out. It's $17.99, and it is, as you can see, it's fantastic. Highly, highly recommended, that one. Yeah, Graham Humphreys did the jacket, and boy, is it good. Superb. So that's one thing I bought recently. And the other thing was from Design for Today. So Design for Today publish sometimes limited edition books, sometimes a bit more wider readership, shall we say, but always of an incredibly high quality. And this is the latest one. This is only limited to 600 copies. There we are. This is number 105 of 600. And this looks at vintage date labels. Can you believe it? And there's a little play there, Design for Today. And this literally is. There's no history about it. It is a book of labels, date labels. And I'm sure you all remember those like packets with the dates in. You get like a, you know, a toothpick sort of thing to pick the dates out. And of course my dad was a fruit and veg merchant. He had a stall in the market when I was growing up. He had a fruit and veg stall since the 60s, and I remember these dates. Always these packets would be very popular at Christmas, and this is all the different labels that Joe, who's the publisher and author of this book, has pulled together. And as you can see, it's a huge book, so it's difficult to actually fit it in, but you get the idea. It's only £12. It's a limited edition of 600, and it's available from the Design for Today website. And they've got a lot of other really great books there as well, which I would recommend. Joe also runs a very successful Instagram feed, and he shares a lot of his amazing collection on there, and it really is amazing. I remember some of these from when I was young in the 70s, but some of these are much older. And my wife says I collect weird stuff. Well, who would have thought someone would have collected these, but they're just beautiful. The other thing Joe collects, I'm not sure if they've been put into book form yet, is Japanese matchbooks covers, and he shared some on his Instagram page, and they're just amazing. So Joe, if you're watching this, that would be my request for your next one. You know, group all your Japanese matchbox covers together, because they are just awesome. There we are. So that's my two books, and two hearty recommends those: Phantasmagoria, the Dalek special, and Dates. There is one other brand new book, but it's not actually brand new, it's just brand new to me. And that was, as I said, my friend Kurt. And Kurt popped this one in with his parcel. I didn't know he'd written a book. The Chronicles of Blackburn, the Witch Hunter. The sort of books Kurt buys, or I buy for him from the UK, are sort of tend to be horror related. It's a real classic horror. And I didn't know he'd done this, so I'm going to give this one a try. So just to let you know, it says, yeah, it's got some quotes on the back as well. So I'll let you know, but just to let you know, that one's around as well. Okay, now back to the vintage, and this is a real great one, which once again came from the States. Now, it's the familiar Penguin story, which I'm sure you've seen many times, but this is, look, 25 cents. It's the American edition. Now, I knew that this existed, but the Penguin story is one of those books. It is my ultimate favourite Penguin book, but the American edition, I believe, has got all the same contents, except it hasn't got the catalogue at the back. So, published July 56 for Penguin's 21st anniversary, and yeah, it's got the Penguin story with all the lovely pictures for basically 60 pages. And it hasn't got the British catalogue at the back, because that just wouldn't make sense. And they didn't do the American publication. I guess they probably didn't have anyone who could actually pull it together. Even now, it's quite difficult. There we are. It is a beautiful, beautiful edition. I'm so pleased to have got that one. I don't know how many were sold in the States. I mean, it's not mint. There's a little crease down there, and a little bit down there, but it is still a beautiful copy. I wonder, and let me know if you're watching this, if there's anything beyond the British one and the American one. I mean, did one come out in Australia, Canada? Who knows? But I would like to know. So yeah, fantastic, that one. Since we're on the Penguin trip here, we got a few real rarities now. So this is N or M, and it's an Agatha Christie in Collins White Circle, and it's the Services edition. Now this one here, Collins printed, is it 8? Yeah, 8 Services editions for Agatha Christie. One of them's a Mary Westmacott, the other ones are Agatha Christie, and this was the last one I needed. So I think I've got the only set of these in existence, well, possibly anyway. But they're very, very scarce. All the Services editions are scarce, highly collectible, and extra collectible because it's Christie. This one sadly has been rebound. It's been pasted onto a board. This is what would happen. The Central Services Book Depot would do rebinds themselves, but this one, it's been put into card covers, and well, it is what it is. The spine's gone, or yeah, it's gone completely. They would have had to have taken the book to bits to actually rebind it. You can just sort of see provided by something welfare. So who knows? But it's a services one designed for the forces. These came out towards 1943 to 1945. All the publishers got on the bandwagon, but that's I was particularly pleased to get that one. I did also get a few other Forces Book Club titles from the same source, and these were ones that I didn't have. I got 2 upgrades and 2 that I didn't have at all. And this is Into Madagascar. And obviously these penguin ones in particular go for, a lot of money online nowadays, but, theoretically they're no harder to get than other services editions. It's just the people looking to get them is greater, I suppose. And this has obviously got some wear here, but the thing is with these, you just want them in literally any condition, just to say you've got one. There's 120 to collect, and I've now got, with these latest editions, I've got, I think, 46. So I'm getting there, without really trying. I'm not, breaking a leg every time one comes online for sale that I haven't got. I'll monitor it, but I'm not going to kill myself to try and get them all, because it's such a hard job. I'm of the opinion that they'll just come my way, and it just keeps collecting penguins interesting, doesn't it? But that was one. Here's another one here. This one's a little bit worse wear. This is Scottish short stories. In fact, there's bits of it in the bag. Let's put it that way. Very, very brittle, but it's a copy, and ultimately that's all you want, really. So this looks like the cover's detached. Yeah, the cover's detached on that one. So you can't do a lot with these. That one has a very faint 3313, which is nothing important. So I'm going to get that one off. When they've got like little stamps, like Royal Navy libraries and things like that, obviously I leave all of those in. I don't touch them, because that is part of the book's history. But that was nothing important. But there we are. So that is very, very delicate indeed. So once I've given these a gentle brush, book by book, I'm going to bag them up, because they're very fragile. All right, here's another one. Is Tomorrow Hitler's? Well, let's hope not, eh? This is from month number two, and each month the colour is a different colour. This is actually a really presentable copy of number 2, so that's really, really good news. Yeah, very presentable. So that one survived well. Look at that. There we are. That tells you a little bit about the Forces Book Club there. 10 books a month, and the subscription is £3 for a year. And if someone in the UK paid £3 to Penguin, they would send off a parcel of 10 books to somebody overseas every month. It only went for the 1 year. It wasn't that much of a success. And then the copies which didn't sell, they had the covers stripped off, and they were rebound as prisoner of war editions, and those are even scarcer. Although, ironically, those do seem to be around in most of them anyway. Anyway, this is the last of the Forces book clubs. The 4 new ones I got recently. And this is another one from month 10, Social Life in the Insect World. Not the greatest spine, it's got some fading and some loss. But once again, it's a copy, and that's all you can ask for with these. They're so incredibly, incredibly scarce. Beautiful. I'm not going to complain at that. It's just another one off the list. I did have just a handful more services editions, which I'll show you since they're all together. This is another one that's been bound into a hardback, and I'm saying I was really pleased to get this because it's a Guild one. I've got a real run of Guild services editions, but this is Arthur Conan Doyle. Look at that. Some Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. So I'm really, really pleased to get that. The original book wouldn't have been bound like this, but it would have been this sort of dimensions. And not sure. That looks like provided by, that could be armed leave, I don't know. The sticker may be duplicated inside somewhere, sometimes they were. But this looks like a standard rebind by the Central Services Book Depot to me. Yeah, Guild Book Special Yeah, services number 35. There we are. There we are. It's really great, isn't it? That little message there. Fighting Forces of the Allied Nations. I've got to admit, I absolutely love services editions. I really do. They are great. And I've got another Guild one here, one that I didn't have, and my friend did have one of these. It's C.S. Forster, who I really like. He's one of the authors I actually collect in multiple editions. Most famous, of course, for the Hornblower books, but this is his look at Nelson. And I'm very, very pleased to get this one. A nice copy as well. I didn't have it at all in my services edition, so number 44. And then there was one more by Hammond and Hammond. I had two in this series. I didn't know there was more than two, but this is one that I was missing. And I don't think these particular books, the Hammond and Hammond ones, are mega sought after or anything like that. But it was one I didn't have, so I've now got 3 different ones. So I think that's all of them. This one has got... It's just coming away at the bottom of the spine. So I'm going to pop a little bit of glue in there and see if we can just save that from getting any worse. That should actually be ample. But yeah, I got to admit, services editions is one aspect of paperback, vintage paperback collecting that I absolutely love. I mean, I quite like the American ones, but there's a lot of them. They're all that oblong shape to fit into a service person's uniform. And there's quite a mixture of titles, but I think it's the British ones that appeal more. There's just something about them that's so evocative of the time, you know? When you think these people were absolutely desperate for something to read. And imagine if, you were even a prisoner of war and, you received a box of books. How fantastic would that be? How fantastic. Anyway, that is those, and that's all the service editions I had to show you. So from some very, very old books to some quite new ones, which probably won't take too long to do. So I have completed P.G. Woodhouse in Penguin first print up to 1970. I've got them all now. However, the 60s ones in particular, the 50s and 60s ones, where they started putting the little vignettes on the front, I don't particularly like those editions. And there is a series that were illustrated by this guy, and his name is Ionicus. I don't actually know the artist's name off the top of my head, but this one isn't signed, but a lot of them are, and their sign is Ionicus, and he does this particular style, and those are the ones I really like. There we are, Ionicus. And they're in typical Penguin format. They're beautiful to read. They're nice editions to hold. They're A format, and there's he didn't do them all, but he did do quite a few of them, and I'd like to try and get the Iconicus run when I see them in nice condition. So that's a pretty nice one. This one's okay, but it's got a little bit of muck on the front there, so I'm probably going to need to give that one a clean. Ionicus, yeah, all of these will get a polish, but we'll just give them the first look over. Let's get a turned over page there. I do love Woodhouse, I got to admit, and he's been treated quite well over the years. Obviously, I don't think anything will touch the Everyman editions, but these are, oh, look at that. It's actually missing the start of the book. That's a shame. I bought these in a job lot off eBay, and they were actually very, very reasonable. It was like, I think it was £12 for about 12 books. I was like £1 a book. So, but sadly, that's no good because it's missing the start. I'll be very frustrated. I don't think the person selling them was the original owner. This one is dated 87. I think these are all sort of late 70s, 80s editions before the covers changed again, because they changed quite a bit, don't they, over the years. It's another one, Pearls, Girls and Monty Bodkin. But yeah, I recently covered the Everyman P.G. Woodhouse books, and I absolutely love those. This is one that was in there. It was for Penguin. It's a Penguin 70, so 20 years ago now. I thought I'll take this one on holiday with me. Stick it in my travel luggage. Mike. Yeah, that's actually not an Iconicus one. That's a Tony McSweeney. So that's a later one, that. But I might as well keep it together for now. And same with that one, Tony McSweeney. But it is mainly the Iconicus ones. It is the run I'm trying to put together rather than these ones. But I said he didn't do them all. He did a lot of them, though. But he didn't do them all. These are all pretty nice. Got 6 more here, actually. Bachelors and that's Iconicus. Beans and crumpets. Lovely. Smith journalist. That's an old W.H. Smith sticker on that one. That's all right. Man with 2 left feet and other stories. Yeah, see, this is going to benefit from a polish there. That'll tidy that right up. I've got to try and rein this in. I tell you, I've been collecting too many books lately. A little nugget. Yeah, that's all right. And the last one, the mating season. I'll tell you what, we've got, looking ahead, we've got quite a bit of science fiction coming up now. So if that's what you've been waiting for, it's on its way. It's got a little tear on the front, but it just about passes. So that's all good stuff. Now I've got a couple of British Danger Man books. Now I got these off eBay, and once again they were particularly nice. The British ones, believe it or not, are harder to get than the American ones, the secret agent ones. Particularly nice condition. And this pair, they were very, very sharp. And I got the seller. I got the seller to put them together into one lot, which I bought the 2 books together. They're not perfect, but they are very, very nice copies. 1965, that one. And I got this one here, Departure Deferred. I still really like watching Danger Man today. They were a bit like the Twilight Zone. They were filmed. They were shot on film. So the film has not aged anything like the cheap videotape that was used back in the day for so many of those shows. So it's aged quite well. There's a little corner fleck there. I need to be careful there. But once again, I think I'm probably going to bag these up because there's such nice additions. Once I've done the edges and given them a little bit of a polish, I shall bag them up. Now we just got a little 5 minutes spare before I take a break. So I'll just show you these. I've got a few bookshop related bits and pieces, and as we've already seen the foils receipt there. I have had a few bookmarks turn up. In fact, I may even have some later on. I've got some on the way. And they may all turn up today. But South African authors in Penguin, look at that. Bit of wear there, but that's one I've never seen before. I've got this one here, which is Margaret Drabble. Now, I have got a folder for all my bookmarks, in fact. And it's long overdue to be updated because I've had loads of bookmarks and promotional stuff come my way, so I'm going to try and do that quite soon. But there, Margaret Drabble, this is it was promoting Jerusalem the Golden, but it also obviously lists her other stuff, and it is pre-ISBN because it's got 4 shillings and 6pence. These are these style ones I think were 66 to 69, and I got all sorts of different ones. What's this? A new Signet book. This is a review slip that was inside The Mind of an Assassin, an American Signet book. Very interesting. I've got loads of Penguin ones like that. This is another Penguin one here. Look at this. This is Amsterdam. Look, it's a Penguin Books return slip for the Netherlands. Look at that. Very cool. I think that's to get the Penguin list. I got this one off Morris. He gave it to me. It's a list of Ladybird books, November to December 1971, a Ladybird catalogue. Very, very cool. I like Ladybird books. I don't have many because I'm a real fuss ass with the condition on them. And, you know, I don't like them all, but some of the historical ones I think are brilliant. Yeah, the history, 561, they're some of my favourites. Some of the Bird ones as well. Yeah, natural history, they're just awesome. So it's very, very nice for that. And I've got a few just little bookmarks here. This is W.H. Smith's one. Not quite sure how old this one is. It could be May 1933, because it says 533 down the bottom. Does that look like May 1933? Hard to tell. Holiday Haunts bookmark, Great Western Railway. And there's two of these. Two of those. And they're both the same. I've actually got some more here. I forgot I had a few more bookmarks. These were Everyman ones. These, you know, the Everyman library. And they, you know, you pick these up all the time. They were forever publicising their encyclopedia. So I'm going to go through, because I only need one of each. But, yeah, old book-related bookmarks. These are something I very much am enjoying collecting, you know, different publishers' ones and things like that. But these Everymans, well, they're okay. They're a little bit boring. I don't massively collect Everyman. I definitely don't collect the encyclopedias, I can tell you that. But they are book-related, and they came in a little job lot, so I thought, oh, I'll have them, you know. But lots of doubles here by the look of it. There you go. Brilliant. That is my ephemeral pickups for this week, except I've got one other thing which my friend Kurt got for me, and it is something quite nice. So I need to just make a little bit of room, because this is actually pretty juicy. It is a door catalogue. So I've got two door catalogues myself. This is the one from 1975, and it looks to be very well sealed in here. This is, I guess, how it turned up. Yeah, so it's going to take a little bit of time to get that one open. So I think I'll cut it there. I'll get into that one, and that'll be the first thing we do when I get back. Okay, so here is the door catalogue, and it is actually a bit like A5 format. It's not a big like magazine size one like my other two ones, but I haven't got, this is the earliest one I've got with door. I've never even seen this one before, so the 1975 one. And little introduction there about Door. There he is, Donald Walheim. As Door enters its 4th year of publishing. There we are, and it's just the catalogue up to that point, I guess. Very nice condition though, really pleased to get these. I love these sort of old publisher catalogues, they're great. Well, it's actually got a little, that's been crossed out and the number changed to 161. That's interesting. I shall leave that there. I wonder who did that. The short story anthologies. There's the horror ones. I'd still after those, at least some of them. An order form there. I wonder if they're going to show any box sets, because I really like the Door box sets, but you don't see them. I used to have a couple and I got rid of them and I'm a bit annoyed. Should have kept them. Well, there we are. Obviously, 1974, the list wasn't that far advanced, was it? Not like it would become. Very cool, though. Very, very cool. That's lovely, that is really, really nice. Okay, so we've got a pile of larger format hardbacks and B format stuff. I picked up a small, or I've picked up recently a small run of the British Science Fiction Book Club titles. And you don't see these very often, and I try to stick to only picking up the early ones, which I call the swirly covers. They've got this similar design. Later on, the covers are more black and white. Interesting, but they don't have the same appeal to me as these ones do. These are far harder to get your hands on, mind you. And the dust wrappers are really thin paper, so they're often in a poor condition, really. But as a library, they're pretty nice. And some of these, it was the first time the books had got published in hardback. So they are worth keeping. And I've got a few of these here that have come from a couple of different sources. And these are all ones that I didn't have already in my collection of these. I haven't really started trying to pick them up on eBay, but you do see them for between £5 and £10, often quite reasonably priced, except for the very first one, which is Earth Abides, which tends to go for about £50, that one, if not a little bit more. There's 2 Philip K. Dicks. I think I've got both of them now, and they tend to be a bit pricier as well. But just checking these over. They did also come with a little leaflet inside advertising the club, and also they would have like readers letters, and those are also very, very scarce. I know my friend Dorset Bob doesn't collect these. He's got some in his collection, like that number 1, but he does collect the leaflets that were often inserted inside them, and I've only got a very small handful. But one of the ones I came across had a piece in by Christopher Priest before he was an author, which they printed. So it was evidently good enough for that. Here's a later one. It's the Readers' Unions. It's a Harlan Ellison one. So it's a science fiction book club again. Harlan Ellison Wonderland. It's got a tiny little dink out the front, which I didn't notice when I bought this one, but it wasn't expensive. I certainly didn't pay £10 for it. I think it was $4.99 again, from PS Publishing, and I picked it up because it's basically Ellison. The edition, it is a book club, but it is also Ellison, so it's got its fans. There he is, looking very 70s. Ha ha ha. This 79. This one was produced. There we are. So that's pretty cool. I did also pick up recently some. I have started picking up these, the Glance SF Classics. There's 20 in the series. I've got a few of them, and I had a few anyway. So I would quite like to get all 20, to be honest, if I can find them in reasonable shape. These were a precursor to the more modern Glance Science Fiction Masterwork series, the same B format, same publisher. These were published beforehand now. These are the 80s, and 1987. But the titles that were published are excellent, including this one. And I'd certainly like to pick the rest of these up. I was actually around at a friend's fairly recently, and he had about 5 or 6 of them. But he also really likes them, so I didn't say, "Oh, can I buy them off you?" This has been well taped. Need to get my little razor here, because this is very, very tight. So this particular video, I've had to fit the recording of it around other things that have come my way, and it's actually been recorded over 3 days. Now, before I carried on to do this final part, I've just been speaking to long-time channel supporter Tim Smith over in Australia, and Tim has just finished writing his magnum opus, you could say, on Renano Frattini. This is an Italian cover artist. He did movie posters as well, and the book is just outstanding. I've seen the PDF of it, and I cannot wait to order the finished product on Kickstarter. So look out for a video on Tim's book very, very soon, literally this week. Just going to pull it together and get some nice images to illustrate the article, and we'll be there. We had a great chat, and it's going to be a good little book when that's published. In fact, it won't be very little. It's going to be enormous, 400 pages in fact. But it's very much a labour of love, and he's done a fantastic job on it. these are very, very tightly. Bob Shaw there. Once again, these are going to need just a little bit of an attention to get a few marks and fingerprints off and that, but nothing too much. Number 10, it's just along the edge there. It needs a bit of polish on it to liven it up. This one's got a bit of a grubby top edge on it, but these weren't expensive, and this should brush up okay. Why would you bother putting it in a bag if you hadn't finished going through and given it a clean? That's what I don't understand sometimes. You want it looking as nice as possible, don't you? Anyway, that's the first 8 there. And this is number 4. So they were planned. I'm not sure if any of them got reprinted or not. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if a couple of them had reprints. Here's another SF Book Club. Best SF3. Yeah, quite a nice bright one, that. A little bit of spine roll on it, but generally okay. Obviously this is short stories, I believe. And there we are. There's some good names there. Copyright Faber and Faber 1958. And this SF Book Club one was published in 1960. Okay, so that's reprinting that, the Faber anthology that Edmund Christman edited, didn't he? I know that series. I think I've got one of those. And here's Science Fiction Book Club number 4. This is probably the maybe the earliest one I've got. I said the later volumes are certainly easier to get, but I don't think I'd want them all, and they just don't look as attractive on the shelf. These nice coloured ones, if you can find them in nice condition, are excellent. This is 1953, which is, I think, the year that the Science Fiction Book Club was launched. And usually you find these spines, they're really dark, so look out for that. Prior to the SF Masterworks and the classic SF run, alongside that, Gallant's published 3 years of the year's best SF, edited by Terry Carr, which is what this one is. And these are good little anthologies as well. That's a Reader's Digest. I've actually got one of these by my bedside at the moment, one which I already had. The 86 one. This is the 87 one. And that's absolutely fine. This is one I got off eBay. It was like £3.50, which I didn't think was bad for that. Here's a nice, a scarcer one. It's a Dangerous Visions, number 16 in the classic SF series. It's again edited by Ellison. Big thick one, 500 plus pages. Lots of good stuff in here. I'm sure you've seen, this is the classic one, isn't it? Illustrations by Leo and Diane Duane. Great partnership. Did loads for Ace Science Fiction in the States. And there's the forward by Asimov. And then here's the contents. Yeah, some good stuff there. Yes, one of the great compilations. Very, very cool indeed. Another one. Best FF2. Now I did spot that that's got a little, someone's put some little bit of biro on that, and I don't think I'm going to be able to get that off. Not on these dust jackets. It's too, I mean, they're just too delicate, you know. But this dust jacket has been laminated. That's interesting. So someone's put it in a lamination to protect it. Della J. Huggins. Yeah, so it's in a Broad Art sleeve. I wonder how easy it's going to be to get off. There we are. Yeah, so we've got a dink there. Yeah, it has been dinked sadly on one corner. It's got a little £1 very, very faintly under Della's stamp. There we are. So I'm going to try and get this one out of the Broad Art sleeve. Usually they just slide out once you've got your hand under there. I'll try it. Might need to do this off camera. There we are. Yeah, so it's done its trick. They've put some sellotape repair there, so it's not the greatest of dust wrappers, and it has got that pen on it there, as you can see. But to be honest, I've seen worse in this series, so for the time being it can stay. Even though it's not the greatest of conditions, it's better than not having one at all, which is how I always view these things. I'd much rather have a lower grade one than not have one at all, and it's not that low grade. As I said, these in their original wrappers are quite scarce, and it looks like I got one more from that series. 1 in 300, number 23. Thankfully I've got a tiny bit of space where I've got these shelved up, where I'll be able to put these. So this is in the black sleeve, which is obviously notorious for getting marked, being black. Yeah, I went into Jack Ryder Books in Liscard last year, and he'd had a big run of these come in, and he said all the early ones, pretty much one person went in and bought the lot, and he was charging like a £5 each, and the same as what I generally pay for them. So I missed out there, got there a bit too late. All right, one more in the Glance Classic SF, Robert Heinlein. Yeah, I don't think any of these are too difficult to put your hand on. You just might need to be a little bit patient to get them all. So that has got a couple of stickers on the back, but they do look rather... I'm probably going to just clean that and leave those stickers on there, to be honest. A brand new book. So this is the 20th anniversary of Silverfin by Charlie Higson, and I bought this one direct from the the Ian Fleming Society online, because Charlie Higson had signed a couple of hundred. So yeah, it came with the postcard there of Fleming. There he is at his typewriter in Jamaica. Very nice. And I believe the book is signed as well. There we are, by Charlie Higson. So very, very cool that. And that was, it was cover price plus the postage, so that was all right. I got loads of the Young Bond stuff, and most of it signed by Charlie Higson because I did an event with him back in the day. Now back into a little bit more vintage. So we got some Avons. This is part of their Murder Mystery Monthly series, and this is number 18. I got a handful of these. These are once again from Mike at PS Publishing. They were £5 each, £4.99. An absolute steal. You don't really see these around like that, and never in the UK. And these ones aren't in too bad condition either. So there's very little we can do on that. Yeah, so James N. Cain, number 20, The Embezzler. Very, very cool series, this. The look of the Avon books is just terrific. I really, really like them. 1944. And we got one more here, which is Marjorie Allingham, Who Killed Chloe? Look at that. Number 17. Super cool. Super cool. Just not something that you see very often. And hardly ever in the UK. 1943 again. Tiny little bit of pencil at the top there. There we are. Very nice. And then to finish, we've got 2 J.G. Ballards, so Concrete Iron. These are in Triad Granada, so these were Granada's attempt to once again appeal to that emerging B format literary audience, which, you know, Picador had sort of started, you know, back in the 70s, to be honest. And this was their attempt to move it into that. So this is the 1985 edition, and that's very, very nice indeed. That, once again, just going to need a bit of a polish. And we got this one, which I don't know anything about this. Running Wild, Arena Novella. Arena Novella. So this, who is it, this part of him? Is it Granada? Is it HarperCollins? Published by Arrow Book, an Arena book published by Arrow Books Limited. It's a part purchase in 1989. I've never heard of this one, but it is, an 80-page novella. Tying in, they make a point of best-selling author of Empire of the Sun. So I guess they were just looking, and even the design aesthetics there sort of tie in with the Empire of the Sun cover. So maybe it's something to do with that. But it looks like it's a crime book. The murders happened shortly after 8 o'clock in the morning of the 25th of June 1988. Blimey. Anyway, that's a ballad that I did not have in my collection, so I was very, very pleased to get that. Anyway, that's all the books that we've got. Now I need to give them a brush first of all, and then some of the books are going to be polished, and some of them need to be popped into comic bags. So I'm going to do that right now. Right, so begins the long old process of getting the dust off these. And I'll try and sort them into little piles as well as we go along. But these hardbacks aren't going to need any sorts of polishing at all. But those very much will. Got some more here. And I do like to give my books a bit of a brush before they end up going into the collection or being bagged. I want them as clean as possible. Considering their age, these aren't too bad at all, these Avons. Yeah, that's really brightened those up. Now, these are of a vintage where they cannot be polished. So this is going to be in a separate pile where I'm just going to bag them. I'm not going to polish them at all. But more modern books, stuff like this from the 80s, absolutely fine to put a little bit of polish around those to jive them up a bit. Yeah, that's okay. These hardbacks, of course, need to be sort of done individually. But some stuff we can absolutely do in bulk. That's a bit too heavy. We do 3 at a time. actually can have a little bit of a polish because it's much more modern, unlike these. Last couple of these. There we are. Okay. Right, let's sort a few of these. Need to be careful with some of this stuff here. Obviously much easier to do these paperbacks. As I said, I'm going to go through these, and some of it I know I can give a polish to. That label's come off really well on that one. It looks much better than it did. US one. Once again, that's of a vintage that there's no way I can put any sort of polish on that, so I'm not going to even try. Same with that. Now these four Forces book clubs, I'm going to put the Agatha Christie on the end as well. Tread with care, but they can go in the non-polishing pile. Got these Woodhouses now. So these can all have a little jive up once they've been brushed. Although these aren't too bad at all. These are fine. Yeah, there's next to nothing coming off these. They've been in a clean environment. They didn't take long. Right, I need to make a bit of room. Okay, so let's give these ones here a gentle polish. Now, once again, these are ones brushed rather. These are ones that aren't going to be polished. They're just going to be brushed. So that's why they're separate. Very dusty the top of this one. All that dust from Portugal. Right, that's them out of the way. As I said, they can't really be polished, sadly, so they have to go on a separate pile. Now these ones here can have a bit of polish on them, so give them the brush and I can start working. Now I was sort of hoping that this video would be under 2 hours, but unfortunately with the amount of work that we needed to do, wow, that's sadly now not going to be the case. And it's partly my fault because I've not put off, but I've just not really had the chance to do a proper cleaning video for some time, you see, so apologies for that. And I don't want to release this video as a two-parter, but the end is definitely in sight now. It is in sight. So I've got a few books that I definitely want to bag up. Which I shall do, and I'll show you the finished result. You don't really need to see me bagging them up like that. I'll bag a few up. Of course, in the better months of the year, I've been able to do this brushing part outside of the studio, in the garden here, but with the weather being so horrible in the UK at the moment, in January and February, that's proved impossible. Right, last pile. Now these are the sort of shorter books, American. And surprisingly, some of these aren't actually too dusty, they're just a little bit aged. It's always the top edge, of course, that picks up the dust naturally. And here we are, the last ones. There we are. Right, so that's all the brushing done. Let's get a few of these bagged and polished. I just thought I'd bag up some of these services editions early on because they do need to be bagged up, really. They're the most delicate books from today's haul, to be honest. And I haven't got all my Services editions bagged up, but I've got a fair few. And some of these are so nice, I want to keep them in absolutely tip-top shape. Now these ones here, I'm hoping that these will fit in the larger digest bags. Yeah, that looks like they'll be fine. Yeah, that looks okay, doesn't it? And this one is actually quite a bit thicker, but it should still, yeah, look at that. It comfortably fits in. Now, the other one I wanted to particularly bag up was that very early Collins. Now, I'm thinking probably a normal paperback bag will do this one, actually, because it's, but it'll be folded round, as it were. It'll have some flaps, but the back is very, very loose, so need to be careful with this one. Yeah, it's not going to play ball. I think the bigger bag might be a bit better for this one on reflection. It's okay, we're allowed to change our mind. Right. Slide that in now. Okay, look, I get these sealed up. But yeah, I tend to try and bag all my paperbacks in a run. So like I'll do, next time I get my Dell mapbacks out, which is going to be quite soon because I'm going to do a shelf tour. That is definitely my next shelf tour. When I get them all out, once I've done the tour, I'm going to then bag them up, I think. Because they are rapidly coming up to 85 years old now, amazingly, which is nuts when you think about it. There we are. So that, I feel a lot happier now that that one has been bagged up, and it's going to protect it, because that back cover was virtually hanging off. Don't know anything about the author or the title. I've never heard of it, but I do know that these are very, very scarce. But there's loads of them, far more than I ever imagined, you know, so there we go. And this one, well, you know, I haven't really bagged up my American specials, my American Penguins rather, but this one is in such tip-top shape that I feel obliged to. And these, well, these are just awesome. I think these are going to be face out on my bookcases for a little while. If I lived in America, I would have made a point of collecting Avon paperbacks because they're so, so nice. Some of their stuff is still actually, because it sold well, it's still actually very reasonably priced. The Avon science fiction reader, I think there was about 20 of those. They're like this, they're digest size. They're very, very reasonably priced. Now that's actually not gone in very tightly. So I like to get it quite snug. There we are. Yeah, those Avon science fiction readers are very reasonably priced, so I'd be tempted. I think that one's the same, you know, it's not quite as tight as I would like. I like it really near the bottom of the bag. There we are. And that keeps it tighter then. Right, one more of these, the Marjorie Allingham. right to the bottom of the bag there, and then yep, 3 real beauties there. Very, very nice indeed. And then we'll just do these services editions, and then I've got a bit of polishing to do as we round out this video. And anything else that we think is absolutely bag worthy, maybe like that UFO book, which is Minter's, that needs to be kept in a bag to keep that one lovely, for example. We'll pull them out as we go along. Yeah, that one has quite literally been through the wars, but it's a copy, and a very, very rare one at that. So I'm not complaining there. It's a copy of Into Madagascar. I didn't realise the back cover was ever so slightly turned over. But if we're going to put that in a bag, I want the corner not to be folded over. So that's why we've done that. There we are. That's actually a really, really presentable copy of that one. This was the worst of all the recent Forces Book Club titles that came my way. But once again, it's going to do for now. It's better than not having one at all. Even if it is with a detached cover. Really nice. And the last one here. There we are. Right, so we will bag up a few other gems as we go along, but on the whole, that's all the really important stuff bagged up and protected. And now all that left is to do a little bit of polishing, which we shall do right now. Okay, so some of these aren't going to need much in the way of polish. Other ones definitely will. So I usually just get the cloth impregnated with Mr. Sheen initially. And these Danger Man ones are actually very nice condition anyway. So I don't believe we've got much to do on these. It's just the occasional mark. Pretty nice and flat, these. A little bit of storage wear, but that's okay. These Woodhouses, well, some were better than others, weren't they? This one did have a bit of aging and moulding on it a bit, in all honesty. So it requires a little bit more attention. Yeah, it's okay. Not perfect, but it's okay. As I said, some of these will be a bit variable. Some will definitely need a bit more attention than others. We'll just slide through the process. Yeah, this had a bit of staining on it. You see these marks on the back here. Hopefully we'll be able to tackle those. Yeah, look at that. I think that had something spilt on it, you know. But because of its nice, glossy, shiny cover, most of that has just lifted off straight away with the Mr. Sheen getting in there. It's only when you start cleaning these that you realise they were slightly dirtier than upon first inspection, shall we say. But we know inside, and all the edges have been cleaned off quite nicely, so we're good in that regard. I think I'm just going to adjust the camera so you can see a bit more of what's going on here. Here we are. Hopefully that's a bit more centralised for you. Now that was the more modern one. I didn't think that. Yeah, that didn't need anything on it, that one. Here's that second Danger Man. Lovely. Yeah, a few marks on this one. There we are. And the last PG Woodhouse. Here we are. American Secret Agent. These are pretty clean, to be honest. I'm going to do the end of this stack and take a final break. As I said, I've been doing this video over the course of a few days because it's a lot to do else. But we've done very well. Now we can, as that copy of Third Girl, we can give the rest of the cover a proper polish now. Now that we got that price label off. Yeah, I've only got a couple of the American Tom Adams and they're very, very nice. I'll probably end up at one point trying to get them all, to be honest. The lovely Miss Emma Peel. Really pleased to get this last Star Trek book. That was lovely. That I said I've been after that for literally decades. I always regretted just having the Corgi one, the Corgi logo there, which is the British imprint. All they did was rebind them with the Corgi logo, but it's nice to have a uniform Bantam set now. And then yet another copy of the Big Eye. Thanks, Kurt. Brilliant. Right, well, I am going to take a short break once again. I'm going to be back later today to do this last little batch of polishing. Right, I'm back to do the final stage of this epic video. And this will teach me really that I need to do these sorts of videos a little bit more frequently. I mean, I used to do them about once a month, but I don't seem to have the time to do that at the moment. And some months I go without buying very much, you know. But I'd like to make it a more monthly sort of booktube news. Maybe even feature another channel who you may not have come across before. So those are sort of a couple of ideas I've had to make it more of a monthly sort of news spot as well. So if you've got any news or channels that you think I should be having a look at, which cover these sorts of books, genre paperbacks, science fiction, crime, vintage paperbacks, or if there's someone you'd like me to interview, you know, and have on the channel as a guest, then drop me a line. Maybe that's yourself. And we can have a chat and potentially come on and be a guest on the show. And if I can help out in any way with YouTube, and I've always said this to people, I've helped many people get started on YouTube over the years, but if you are struggling, feel free to reach out and drop me an email if there's something that's baffling you, or you don't understand, or you could use a bit of help on, and I'll happily share my advice after almost 7 years doing this now, amazingly. It'll be 7 years in March, so next month, which is fantastic. And I never guessed I'd still be doing this all these years later, to be honest. But now I wouldn't want to give it up. Just a very light going over with these ones here. Have to be careful. You can feel little bits of dirt coming off. Like that would have had probably a sticker on the back, I'm reckoning. As I said at the start of this video, I am moving more into being a book dealer now until I go full time doing that next year. So if you are looking to dispose of collections rather than just a handful of books, but if you're looking to dispose of a quantity and you're in the UK, then, do bear me in mind. And even if I don't want them myself, I can probably find someone who might. Because I know people who collect all different sorts of books. It doesn't have to be vintage paperbacks or genre fiction. Gorgeous. So yeah, bear me in mind next time you're thinking of moving some books on, because you never know. These are particularly gorgeous, aren't they? They don't need much cleaning, it's just really in spots, little spots here and there, where in their long lifetimes they've picked up a little bit of muck, the odd fingerprint, the odd splash of coffee or something. These are beautiful. Now, I should say, I really appreciate my supporters on Patreon and through YouTube channel memberships. They really do keep the channel ticking along, and without them it would not exist. That's for certain. And if you'd like to join the channel, hear about the latest announcements, because I do a members only video direct to camera every single week. So if you're tempted, you can join as a supporter from as little as £1 or $1, which is a very, very low price of entry. That's per month. For that, you're going to be getting 4 members only videos. Plus, if you join now, there's a backlist, I think, of about 40 odd. So there's plenty of backlist as well for you to get stuck into, which makes joining the channel, I think, good value for money, certainly compared to some. And I'd like to keep it at £1, so that it's almost a no-brainer. But I have only got just over 100 supporters, so I'd like to get that up to more like 150 over the next few months. The supporters are doing, subscriber rather numbers doing very, very well, but the channel supporters, well, could always use a few more. I know times are hard. They really are at the moment, right around the world. So I do appreciate that. But if you can spare £1 a month, there are benefits. You will get those exclusive videos. You will get access to my sales videos earlier than before they go public, basically. So there are definitely advantages. There we are, lovely. So that's a nice little pile of goodies there. Now I'm going to do those B formats next, I think. There we go. These are slightly less delicate than those early American paperbacks. But once again, they will benefit from a clean. if you're enjoying these beautiful paperbacks, well, I let my members know literally the day I found out, because someone tipped me off. I thought, oh, better share that on my next members only video, and potentially you could have dived in yourself and got a few goodies like I did. So it's not on purpose, but you know, I want my members to get all the latest information as soon as possible. If you particularly like these cleaning videos, don't forget I have got my other channel, which is much, much smaller than this, but I do a video a week over there, and it's just cleaning books. And obviously, just recently, I've had many, many Pan and Penguin books to clean up, predominantly Penguin. And that's what I've been doing over there, week after week after week, different series to try and mix it up. And I have recently been tackling a pair of books from 1900, which are fantastic, but they proved it's a real labour of love, and I'm going to try and do like an hour a week on them until I've got them looking really nice. But it's a long job, I can tell you that. But it has been quite satisfying. The results have been fantastic. So if you've not checked that out and checked my other channel, do go and have a look. And these are coming out really nicely. I think I need a clean bit of cloth. Look at that. That's just on those books we've been doing. So I'll move it along a little bit. It is quite the process I go through when I get new books, and I know some people might think it's a bit overkill, but I just, find it really therapeutic. I like to know the books are in as good a condition as I can make them, and I don't like to sell any stock until even the stock has been through this process. So if you ever buy a book off me, you'll know that it's been given the once over, generally speaking. I was pleased to see that these are very, very reasonably priced on eBay, just a few pounds each, which is not bad at all. I know the postage is like £3, but they are out there, and they are out there in nice condition as well. So I'm guessing that the 3 annual anthologies that Glance published in paperback must have sold pretty good. Because I didn't have, as I said, I had one already, and I didn't have trouble tracking down the other two. As like a little bookend to the classic SF that they published a bit later. I've seen this one before, but I've never come across a copy myself, so I was glad to find this one. bit of a mucky back on it. Couple more B formats to go. Yeah, my friend Steve, the Outlaw bookseller, has got the. He hasn't got the full set of these, but he's got the copies that he bought when they were published. So they are, as you can imagine, very nice condition because he's a collector at heart. And he's kept his collection in tip-top shape, as you would imagine, really. And the last one of these. And what a beauty. Probably my favourite one on the list. And pretty nice condition as well, this one. Not perfect, but pretty nice. Particularly after we've given it the old Mr. Sheen. Right, so we have 2 more stacks to do. Predominantly vintage, so we'll have to tread with care. But that is no problem to us. Excellent stuff. Right, you know, this one in actual fact, I can't give that a polish because that's I've got a very delicate dust wrap on, so we'll give these the appraisal as we go along. I think some of them will have to, they won't be polishable. Others will be fair game. This is another one that we need to leave as is. This one's a little beauty. Very pleased to get this. It actually has a cover artist, which a lot of Fontanas do not. Looks like Barbara Walton. Well, there you go. A female artist. I don't think there was that many of them back then. Working in the book industry anyway. That's good to see. Yeah, pretty nice copy of that. Yeah, bit of an odd ace. An ace oddity, you could say. It's not a space odyssey, an ace odyssey. Right, now, these were a bit grubby, these French ones, when I got them out of the bag, but they are laminated, so we should be able to do a bit of a number on them to get them clean. Yeah. I mean, I got these off Morris from Zardos. I wonder where he got them from. if they may have just turned up in a collection that he bought, maybe. Who can tell? He gets books from all over the place, doesn't he? Portuguese, we're French, then we're into Portuguese. We're going a bit around the world today, aren't we? A few little marks on this, but they're coming up okay. Or some of them did, let's put it that way. Montana rides. Again. So apologies that this video has ended up being 3 hours. That was not my intention, but unfortunately, it's inevitable. And, you know, it could be even longer if we bagged up a few more things, but I'm going to spare you the pain. But I hope you've enjoyed this one anyway. It's been an epic, you can say. Right. Just one more stack to go. That might take us too long, and then we'll be done for today. And some of these just need a very cursory little wipe, really, like this, for example. Others may need a little bit more. Yeah, see that? a new book, but it did have some sticker residue on the back. There we are. Just a little bit more elbow grease. Here's the other French Kojak. Fresh bit of cloth, I think, is required. There we are. Very grubby spine, but we've soon lightened that up. I think it was as nice as you're likely to get. That's stock, so I'm going to put that to one side. Surgeon's Heritage. Yeah, these are lovely. So there you go. So if you have enjoyed today's video, albeit rather long, do please give the video a thumbs up. Do please hit that subscribe button. That is absolutely free, so you never miss another episode. Well, you may, but hopefully not. You can ding the bell as well, so you do get informed. You get a little notification when I upload, which is usually twice a week, on a Thursday and a Sunday. As I've mentioned before, if you can afford to be a channel member and help me out financially, even from £1 per month, it would be gratefully received. But if you can't, I'm just grateful that you're watching the channel. So I shall see you again very soon with another video. Bye.